Hi everyone, welcome again to another video. This is not a bottle of juice or olive oil. This is my brake fluids bleeded from my E39. I'm gonna show you today how to do it in the gravitational method. It's a not very discussed method because people claim it's long. Actually, I'm gonna show you how long it will take. It's very simple, straightforward, no expensive equipments. Stay tuned with me. We'll go into the video with the details. So we're gonna use brake fluid itself. In my car, I will use the .4. If it's a DSC system, you have to use the low viscosity .4. But for my car, I have the ASC, so it will be .4. Of course, use the oil that's recommended for your car. We'll use brake cleaner. We will use a 1 liter bottle of any beverage or juice, or the kids bottles which they use here. If you have one of them busted, so you can use it because it will fit very nicely around the tube. I will use here the fish tank tube. The measurement is 6 by 9. The inner diameter is 6 and 9 millimeters from outside. This will make it fit very tightly and nice. We will use this big jaw, 15 millimeter jaw, and I will use, according to my car, the inlet for the bleeding, which I have 11 millimeters, and some of the BMWs they will have the smaller 7 millimeters. We'll use 2 flat screwdrivers to remove the buckle outside the brake. We'll use the H7 Allen key, and I will rather use it with the wrench with the extensions. We will use also the 11 millimeter socket to open the bleeder if it was like really closed very tight before us. So this bottle, so simple design. You just drill the cover for it in a drill tip, 8 millimeter, or you can use the bottle here, just straightforward, because it's made of rubber anyway. The bottle, we will put the tube inside until it reaches the bottom there, and we will just immerse it with 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters of fresh brake fluid. Of course, this is the used oil because I already changed the back wheels. So this is how it looks like. The main important stuff, as I said, that you will really immerse the end of it from beneath, so that the end will be all the time submerged with the oil, and we will make a ventilation opening here so the air will come out once the oil get inside this bottle. Inside you can add also like extra safety by putting the plastic tightener here. If you really like follow the measurements, the opening is 8 millimeters, and use this tube, it will be very nice fit. And this is the most common fish tank tube used. After we close it, of course, I will leave around 30 centimeter outside, so it will be enough for the tube to hook on the inlet of the bleeding screw, and I can rest the bottle on the ground normally. This measurement, by the way, it will fit for most cars. It's a kind of universal. They try to do it universal, so this tube is enough to be fitted on everything. Before I start anything, I have to know where's the brake fluid reserve I have in my car. And the E39, as most cars, is on the front left side. Of course, you can see that I have the whole car raised because I have other stuff to fix in the car. So I took the chance, since I'm waiting for the parts, so I decided to bleed the brakes. Here is my brake reserve. Of course, I had to remove the cabin filter and the ventilator with the trims that goes around it. I have also the plastic, any plastic piece to put the the brake oil sensor level indicator here. And I will make sure that I will wrap the whole place with a very clean rag or any cloth, because this brake fluid is very aggressive against the paint, I will try to clean before I put it, clean everything around. So once I remove the cover for the brake reserve, it will be all clean, nothing will go inside. Of course, I will disconnect the sensor, which you can see on the side here. I will open it all and take this the level indicator. I'll take it out and put it aside, and be careful not to drip any of this oil on your car components or the paint especially. I'll try to be careful as much as I can, and I put it in this plastic bowl. That's why I use it as a plastic, so it doesn't corrode or damage anything around. Of course, you will see here two levels. You have the maximum and the minimum. The minimum is beneath this line. I will fill up the oil up to the max, and I won't exceed it. You will see so many people using the other instruments which will overflood the reserve itself. Of course, the original BMW method, you should have the reserve above the another reserve. You will have it, and you will use pressure. This is different. It should have no air bubbles, and it really can compress the brake pipes and exceed the limitations of such old cars. Like for my car, everything is working good, and those pipes are working good, the brake lines are working good. I don't want to really pressurize it more, because this method may be like for new cars, the pressure method, but once I have such car, like 22 years old car, I think I would try to preserve it as much as I can, and I don't want to cost myself extra money, so the gravitation method will be the best. The second thing, some people like to take from the oil, the old oil from the reserve, and fill up the new oil. Of course, if you do this, you will compromise your ABS system, because it's all connected. All the lines, if you can see, it goes to the ABS between the minimum and the maximum level. So I wouldn't do that, although like it will cost me just 5 minutes to wait for this oil to bleed out, or 10 minutes. I would rather to wait than to like if it goes the air bubbles to the ABS system, I'm done. I have to go to the dealer, and they have this special equipment to zero everything, test everything, which I can't afford. It's very expensive equipment, so I would rather to leave everything as it is. I'll just open it. I'll go of course to the front tire now. I finished the back tires. Of course, if I've started with this position, my reserve is there, I will start with the wheel that is farthest from it, which is on the right rear side. So I start with that one, as you see here. So the lines from the reserve up to this tire is all depleted, which means like almost 70% of the oil in my system is already out, which will make the process easier and shorter when I move to the other tire on the rear side, and then front, the opposite side of the reserve, and then next to the reserve there on the left side. First thing I will do, just try to clean the area, because I want to open the bleeder screw, so I don't want any dirt around it. Of course, you can use the brake cleaner. I used it before, of course, and now I'm trying just to remove any dust overnight. Now this bleeder screw is always covered. Of course, on the rear right side and the front left side, you have the brake sensors wrapped around it, so you have to remove it also, which is all connected. It's all rubber, so simple. Now this is the problem, that if you read the communities, this bleeder screw, sometimes the mechanics will screw it too tight. So the methods that you can sometimes you see on YouTube, that you always drain it while the piston and the caliper is outside the desk, which make it so hard. First, second, it will really introduce it to breakage. So many guys, they broke this bleeding inlet, and in this way you have to really change the caliper itself, which means you have to break the continuity of the brake line, which you have to change and connect it again. So it's a big thing. So the method I'm prescribing today, it's very simple, because I'm gonna open this bleeding screw while it's on the desk itself. I'm not gonna change the brakes now. I will do the bleeding process while I'm changing the brakes. So it's the procedure before. So I'm not gonna break anything. It will be steady, having a steadiness from the brake caliper itself and the caliper carrier. So first thing. Second thing, meanwhile, I'm gonna release the piston. So the worst oil in the whole system is in the piston. It's located within the piston. Once you lose thickness of the brake pads, this will be replaced by being pushed by the piston itself. And this is the oil that is the worst in the whole system, which I need to evacuate first. That's why I needed to stay on the desk. So I have two things. I preserve my bleeding screw from breakage first. Second, I will already release the system in the piston, which will go first. And this is the worst oil, as I said. And most of the methods, they don't even suggest it, although this is the main item to be replaced. So in this way, I will do it in the same process. Third thing, I'm already pushing the piston back to remove the dirty oil, and in the same time I'm releasing the caliper from the desk, so it will be so easy for me to put the new pads in its place, and by the same time I remove the caliper easily from the desk. You can see I'll bring my wrench now. I put it around the tube, just leave it there. As I said, in this car you have two, I think 7 millimeters, and in this model is the 11. You have two sizes, so you have to follow, which you can just test it before. And just to break it, before I put the tube, I have the socket, the 11. I try to put it full and make sure that it's steady, and I will just make it quarter turn only, just to break the tightness of this bleeding screw, which happens so many guys, once they are doing it outside the desk, it will break with them. So this will make it steady. I'm using the caliper as support, and I will just open it quarter turn, and that's it. This is enough for me to continue with the manual wrench, the ring. So immediately I'll put my fish tank tube here, which fits perfectly, and I will wait, of course. Now this, I'm gonna open it just little bit after I start pressing the piston. And to press the piston, I'm gonna use my vise, the big vise, which is this one here. Of course, you can see that the piston carrier and the caliper itself have opening from the outer brake pad, which you can put one side of this vise, and the other side you can put it on the head of the caliper itself on the other side, avoiding touching the brake lines, which will make it so easy to compress the piston back. And the piston is connected to the inner pad, which I will show you later. To remove this clip, of course, to allow me to press the piston, I will have to push this clip inside, and with another screw just push it out. So as you see here, to remove the guiding pins, I will remove the plastic covers here. The guiding pins are 7 millimeter hex. In this side, I had the lower cover already not available, which means the Allen key, the H7, is dirty, which will make me big problems just to remove. So of course, in any process of changing your brakes, as I'm gonna do, you always order it before. That's why I have no problem. I already have the new plastic covers and the tunnels for them. I will remove the upper Allen key H7, This will be enough as long as it's out. Unless you want to make maintenance for the whole caliper, you take the whole screw out, which I'm gonna do in my car, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to take it out. You just like release it and you will feel like it's relief. For the lower one, I'm gonna use the brake cleaner to remove the dirt that is blocking the H7 inlet there. Of course, didn't work, so I had to use any wire or any pick, which I have here at the tip of the cleaner itself. I'm just gonna push the dirt and try to clean it again so I can put my H7 Allen key in this place. This is the screw. You can see how tight fit it is. That's why any dirt will really block it from getting inside. And this is the plastic cover, which you have to order before you change it, because sometimes it will get busted, or if it has any oil break on it or anything to damage it, it will get the dirt inside. So I'd rather always to order it before. Of course, now I'm trying to provide the support, which I'm going to use after I remove the caliper, after I finish bleeding and pressing the piston. And as a matter of just safety, because I already have the caliper guiding bolts out or like disengaged, I will always use a wire or a bungee cord like this and tighten it to the coil of the suspension, just to make sure that when it drops, or if it drops by mistake, it doesn't load or put all the weight on the brake lines itself. By the way, this is the gravity method, so not always we have like detailed videos about it, so I'm trying to show you everything in details. Sorry. As I told you before, we put it at the back, avoiding the brake lines, and at the front, pressing the outer pad. As you can see, this size 15 centimeters is enough as a vice grip for this car. And I carefully start to press it, and you will see the oil starting to flow out in the clear tube. But once I start pressing it, of course, now I will open a little bit the bleeder, and no need in this bleeder, you don't open it that much, you don't close it that much. The torque is 16 Newton meter to close, so you just open it one turn or one half turn, and it will be enough to bleed the oil from here. Of course, try to avoid the rotation of the pipe while you are opening the screw itself, the bleeding. So you can see the oil starting to get out because I already have pressure on the piston. I have the reserve open because once I push the piston, I don't want the reserve to be closed. I don't want it to overfill or have also pressure inside, because I don't have the car working, the servo is not working, so there is no vacuum. Now you will notice the oil getting out. This is the worst oil. This is why actually we do the bleeding, because of this dirty oil. You see it dripping. You can see how it goes out. This oil is just in the piston. It's only in the piston, and this is the worst. It's very vicious and viscous oil, like it's full of dirt. Now I'm reaching the end. I'm pressing the piston up to the end, and that's it. This is the oil that went out. It's just from the piston. It's not from the system itself. It just stays in the piston, in and out. Now I will open, of course it's open, the bleeder, so I'm just waiting for the oil to get out until I see a clear bubble-free liquid. Of course you don't see it flowing because this is gravity, but if I raise the here on the other side, I just want to show you how the air bubbles can get out. You won't see, because once it's reached this neck here, it will start flowing. You can see it. This is the gravity method, and this is the bleeding. You can see how the air bubbles are getting out. because I had the dirt, most of the dirt in the back wheels and the air bubbles from the front wheels. You can see each tire will take around 15 minutes, and the actually the back tires took 20 minutes, the first one, the second one 15, the other side front wheel 10, and this side it took me also 10 minutes. So it's not that big deal of time, because I can do other stuff in the other tires, prepare for this, remove the tires until I finish one. And I make sure at the same time that the oil doesn't reach the minimum. I always keep it on the maximum while I'm watching. Of course, the oil drop in the reserve here is not like the other methods with the vacuum or the pressure, because it really leaks gently. It's not that fast, so you don't have to worry. You can really do your stuff and not to worry that the oil will suddenly reach the minimum. You can always correct it and add it. So back to our oil itself, I just want to show you the flow level. You can see how it's raising above my finger here. It's almost like 1 centimeter, around 1 centimeter in 2 seconds. You will see it against the pipe of the windshield fluid now. And that's why it will take around 10 minutes each tire, except the back tires. It took from me around 25 minutes, the back tire, the first tire, just to make sure that everything is out. You can see it will drop now and stay in the very first part, because it will leak. And it's gravity. You don't have to worry about any pressure. You don't have to need any assistance. You don't need anyone to get into the car while it's all supported on the jack stands. You don't need to get inside and do any shaking in the car, pushing the brake while the servo is not working. Opening is very simple. You can do it alone without any help, without any endangering for the pipes or in danger of having air bubbles if you lost it beneath the minimum level. I just watch the reserve. I make sure that it's just up to the maximum. And actually each tire didn't reach the oil, didn't reach the middle, so it didn't exceed the minimum. I used around 750 ml of brake fluid. Of course, I use always unopened, fresh, new brake fluid. So I took 2, each one is half liter, and I didn't use them all. Now after I finish, I make sure that the oil is clear, out, bubble free, dirt free. It's time to finish the segment, this tire. I have to finish it. I'm trying to show you now how clear it should be. It's very clear, no air bubbles, no dirt, as it was in the beginning, as you saw it, and the air bubbles on the other side I show you. So now I'll just 16 Newton meter, which is just the tightness of your hand without extreme. We open it 1/2 almost turn, so it will be enough just to tighten it good, like this. That's it, and this is enough. Of course, I will drain the rest, which is in the pipe, which is stuck because there is the kirk there. And as I said, the best time to bleed your brake system is when you change the brakes, because I'm ready now to change my brakes, which is my plan, but I'll talk about it in another video, because I'm gonna change the handbrake and the tighten the wires. So now I just disconnect everything after I clean before and after, and I just put the sensor, if it's the front left or the right rear one, back around the nipple, and then I close it with the plastic cover. Of course, now it's time to remove this vise here. It helped me, of course, again, as I said before, turning the piston back in its original place, so it's easy for me to remove the caliper off the desk. I can install the new brake pads in its place because the piston is already back, fitted easily. Also, I also removed all the dirty oil outside, so it make me a lot of benefits just to use this method. Of course, I don't have to remind you that now is the time that you make sure that the wire or the bungee cord that you use, it's really supporting. So I'll try just to make sure that it's like tight. Now I can remove my device, move on to the other wheel. You can see the brake line, how short it is here. You can see how easy it is to remove the brake holder, the brake caliper here. This is the video about the gravity method. There were no too much videos and a lot of complaints from the guys on the community of breaking the bleeding valve. So I hope you find it useful. If you like it, give us a like and subscribe. And for the meantime, this is everything. See you in other videos. Bye bye.